Hello and welcome to another All About Stamping video. Today's my second day of Hero Arts and I wanted to show you and talk to you about the cling stamps and the woodblock stamps that Hero Arts makes. So I grabbed a sampling of my favorite stamps, and first I wanted to talk about the background stamps. You can get them, basically Hero Arts makes them two main ways, on the woodblock and on the cling, and you can see they're pretty much the same from this side. This one just has the woodblock and this has the cling mount with the picture on it. Then Hero Arts also makes cling that doesn't have the picture on the back, and this actually sticks to the blocks a lot better. And these are the basic gray ones that are made like this. So these are some of my favorite background stamps, and all of these measure about 4.5 by 5 3/4, so a quarter of an inch larger than a regular size card. So you have to line it up pretty close to get all the edges, but it's pretty easy to do. So I have these stamps that I really love. Then also more woodblock stamps. They sell some of them in sets. This is one set that I particularly love. I believe it's called Peking Posies. Yeah, it's LL072. And you can get ones like this. There's also little robots, and they come in this nice handy package to keep them all together. And then they also have smaller woodblock stamps that come in a variety of sizes. And these have the image trimmed around them and then mounted on the woodblock. And you get a really clean impression with these. Then also kind of going along with these, you can see that these look somewhat similar. They're trimmed around the edges, and this is how I store my smaller piece sets in these DVD cases. I bought these from Stampin' Up, I believe. It's what Stampin' Up stores their stamps in, so you can buy extras and then put your cling labels in here. So I have these butterflies that I really like, and you can actually keep 2 layers of stamps in these. And they also have, this is how they come packaged, obviously without the clippy thing on though. They come on a plastic sheet inside of this plastic bag. And these are some of my favorite clear stamps, or cling stamps, the silhouette images, which are just really awesome. So the black part stamps, and then you can color in the gray part here with whatever kind of distress ink or anything like that, and it's pretty cool. So for my project today, I'm going to be using this background stamp, this floral vine stamp, and then these butterflies. First, I'd like to start out by stamping my little vine across the bottom of the card. So I have this piece of scrap paper. You can see it's already pretty well used. And my Magenta black ink, and I'm going to ink up my vine image and then stamp it several times across the bottom like this, because I'm going to want to have the butterflies floating up above on top. This piece, by the way, is 5 1/4 by 4, so there will be an 1/8 of an inch border around the whole thing when I mount this on a card base. And I'm just going to put it down here and ink up my stamp. When I use rubber stamps like this, I like to ink from the top, just so I know that I'm getting good coverage. And this also prevents me from getting ink on the woodblock, because although it doesn't affect your stamped image, it does make the woodblock look, you know, stained. So for a really detailed image like this, I'm actually going to put my little mouse pad underneath for a little extra bounce, and just kind of put my stamp where I think I want it to go, and stamp down firmly. There we go, and I'm just going to ink it up a couple more times and kind of cover the bottom of this card. Next, I just kind of want to get my main stamping out of the way. So I'm going to see which butterflies I want to stamp and put on my card. I think I'm just going to use this one, and I'm going to just stick it to my block. And the trick is just to get some static going, so sometimes you kind of have to rub it in circles to get it to stick, but that's okay. And I'm just going to stamp this on just an extra piece of vintage cream cardstock using the same Memento ink, and then this kind I can just, since it's a smaller stamp, I'm just going to impress it into the pad. And then when it looks like I have some pretty good coverage, I'm just going to stamp down. Perfect. Alright, so I've picked out my Copic colors. I have R20, YG25, and Y35. And just to keep this all in mind, this is the card base that I wanted to put it on. And I thought about using RV04, which I had is this color, and it matches pretty closely. But it always bugs me when colors are really close together but slightly off. So I decided to do something like this really light pink so you don't get any chance of those two colors clashing. So I just picked out these three colors that I thought would look kind of nice together. And I'm just going to color my entire image in, flowers and butterfly, in with these Copic markers. And I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm back and I've done the coloring on the card here. You can see I used just the three colors that I mentioned before. I overlapped the pink and the yellow to create kind of an orangey color too on the butterfly. And so I have those colored. Now I think what I'm going to do, since when I cut the butterfly image out, I cut off the antenna and feet just to be a lot easier. I think I'm going to put the butterfly right about here. So I'm going to actually stamp down the image using my Memento ink again. And this way it will just have that antenna and little feet on the paper. And that makes it so that I don't have to cut them out. Perfect. And then I can just adhere this right over the top when I'm ready. Another thing that I wanted to do just right before I adhere my butterfly down is add in this background stamp texture. And what I want to do, I want to use this for the sky actually. So I'm going to overlay this piece of white type paper and using a pencil just go over where the flowers are, kind of drawing a curved line, because this is where we don't really want the sky to be. And then we'll just tear it along the edge, and this will act as a mask for our little sky so that it doesn't overlap the flowers. And we can just put this over here. I have some removable adhesive. This is from Tombow. It's my favorite repositionable stuff because it just only sticks to what you want to put it on. So it'll stick to this paper really well, but it doesn't stick to this paper very well. And you can always roll it off with your fingers as well, if necessary. And now we don't need to cover up the butterfly because only the little antenna and feet will be showing. And I'm just going to ink this stamp up with both tumbled glass and broken china. And I'm just going to go over it relatively well. And I'm using the broken china mostly around the edges because I know that's where it will be darker. And that's where it'll look more natural being darker. And now, this is how I usually stamp with background stamps. I'm going to lay my piece on top of the background and then press down with my fingers. And I found that this is the best way, whether it's a cling stamp or wood stamp, this is the best way to get a really good impression and control exactly the amount of pressure you're applying to every part of the piece. Alright, and so now I can just flip it over. And you can see we have a really cool sky background on the card here with a really organic edge. And now I'm just going to run the tumbled glass Distress ink over the edges. And now I can adhere down my butterfly with some dimensional adhesive. And you can see the little antenna and the feet show, which is really cool. And now I'm just going to adhere this to my card. Let's get this stuff out of the way. Using some regular ATG adhesive. Alright, so I'm going to use this sentiment from the Sending Smiles sentiment set from Hero Arts, and I really love this because there are just so many options with this one stamp set. I'm going to ink it up with some Memento black ink and then stamp it onto this small strip of vintage cream cardstock. Then I'll round the corners, and just to make them stand out, I'll ink the edges with the tumbled glass. And then I think I can go ahead and just adhere this down with my dimensional adhesive here. And I'll trim the excess off while I'm thinking about it. Ink that edge a little bit. And then I'm going to use one of these pearls that matches this pink color. So I think this color probably matches the best. So I'm just going to use this bigger one. And to balance it off, I'm going to put a few more right down here in this corner, because then we'll have the 3 accents with the butterfly, the pearl on the sentiment, and then these pearls in the corner to balance everything off. So I'm going to use the second smallest size here, and then the 2 smaller ones off to its side. Alright, and just to make everything feel a little bit more together, I'm going to go over the edges of this pink cardstock with the tumbled glass as well. And there we have it. Here's our finished card for this class. And I hope you enjoyed learning about the Hero Arts wood and cling stamps with me. And next time we'll be moving on to another exciting manufacturer. So thank you very much for joining me for this lesson. Here's a picture of the finished card. And here's a picture of the close-up. And I will catch you again next time.